First, I want to say good evening to all that are joining us via the web and to those that are live in person. I am beyond excited to be board president for several reasons. One, to execute my vision of transparent and honest communication. Two, to ensure that we fully leverage the diverse and deep knowledge and expertise of this board. To that end, I want to thank Dr. Falk for providing what I hear was an informative and educational discussion with our staff on COVID-19. We are grateful for your time and for sharing your knowledge. Lastly, I'm excited to bring about some changes to how our board operates and how we are structured. The first of which is my partnership with Rachel Van Auken, who will co-lead with me so that we can be more responsive and transparent, both amongst the board, with staff and administrators, and with all of you. We believe the changes we will implement will make the board more efficient and agile. If there is one thing 2020 and the pandemic has taught us, things never stay the same for long, and we must be prepared to pivot and respond to this ever-evolving environment. So welcome again, and let's begin. The Voorhees Township Board of Education uses a rolling agenda concept. Items that are listed for a vote on the public board agenda are sent to the Board of Education members weekly as information items. Each member has the ability to request topics to be discussed in committee meetings as needed. Due to the increase in COVID-19 cases in New Jersey recently, the public may not attend the meeting in person and is invited to attend the meeting via Zoom. A link will be provided no later than the afternoon of the meeting on the district's website. In addition, instructions for making comments during the public participation portion of the meeting are detailed on the website. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, public notice of this meeting has been given to the board by the board secretary in the following manner. Posting written notice on the official bulletin board at the Voorhees Township Public Schools Administrative Building on August 8th, 2020 and January 20th, 2021. Sending written notice to the Courier Post on August 8th, 2020 and January 20, 2021. Filing written notice with the clerk of Voorhees Township on August 8th, 2020 and January 20, 2021. Posting on the Voorhees Township website on January 20th, 2021. Let's all rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Bryce?
Here.
Ms. Cosenza?
Here.
Dr. Falk?
Here.
Ms. Galliano?
Here.
Dr. Levy?
Here.
Mr. Schmus?
Here.
Mrs. Wallace? Mrs. Van Auken?
Here.
Mrs. Watson?
Here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of motions 1 and 2?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Bryce? Ms. Cosenza?
Yes.
Dr. Falk?
Yes.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Schmus?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes. Information items 1, fire drills and safety drills, are shown as attachment A. There are no items under communications. And board secretary report, I turn it to Helen.
Thank you. We were awarded a wellness grant through our school's health insurance fund, and we are participating in several challenges. The first was called the Good Vibes Challenge, and it's sponsored by something called Tavi. And what happens is people log in and then they walk and they log in the number of steps that they've taken. So the really neat thing is that was a 6-week challenge. And we have winners. There are winners that get paid out of the grant. And the top winner with 718,000 steps was Connie Bittner. And that winner gets $300 to donate to a charity of their choice. So again, that money comes from the grant and it was paid over to a charity. And then there's raffle winners at different levels. So if you meet a certain level, then your name gets put in a hat for $25, or not hat, whatever they do to pull the things. The shift does that for us. And then $50. So the winner of the $25 raffles was Taylor Dansky and Julie Elliott. And the $50 raffle was Shari Kaufman and Rachel Hensel. We're going to be starting up a new challenge, and Lisa Sollenberger heads up these challenges. So the email just went out, and the registration began January 18th, so any employee can sign up to do it. It's called Movin' and Groovin', and you just log in your steps again. And I think, let's see, you have until, it starts February 1st. So it starts from February 1st through March 14th. It's a 6-week challenge. And again, the prizes are $25, $50, or $300 to the charity of your choice. So we had about 64 people sign up last time, and over 80 people signed up this time. So it's really great. It's kind of fun.
That's great.
Okay, then the next item on my list is winter break buildings and grounds items. Our maintenance buildings and grounds department is always super busy, and even more so during our breaks. So some of the things that they accomplished during winter break are Northeast came in and finished the installation of our touchless faucets at all the schools. Associated Fire performed inspections on our kitchen equipment and Ansel systems. The hall carpets were cleaned, the floors were cleaned, everything was mopped. The guidance room, we have a new guidance suite at VMS. The furniture was relocated from the old offices to the new, and any new furniture was put together. We got a new milk cooler at VMS. If anybody participates in the meal distribution, you'll see that we give out half gallons of milk with all the meals that we hand out, so we needed some more cooler space for that. The Hamilton Media Center received new LED light bulbs. We're putting them in throughout the district. We had salt delivered to anticipate any kind of snowstorms, 22 tons of it. And again, hall carpets were cleaned, hard surface flooring cleaned, bathrooms power washed. And those are just some of the highlights of what they did during the winter break. The next item on my list is really just a whole list of all the health and safety inspections that we do either each year or on a monthly basis or periodically. I'll just read them off. Indoor air quality, emergency lighting, microwave testing, right to know, water testing, fire department inspections, fire alarm inspections, boiler inspections, bleacher inspections, health and safety checklist monthly, ground inspection daily, Board of Health kitchens, integrated pest management, HVAC filter inspections, stage rigging and basketball backboard inspections, playground inspections, emergency generator inspections, and AED devices monthly. Most of that is handled by our Buildings and Grounds Department, and the AED is handled by Sue Donnelly, oversees that type of inspection. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent report.
Good evening, everyone. What I'd like to start first by is just saying thank you to all the board members. It is Board of Education Recognition Month, and we are very appreciative of your service and volunteering. In front of you is just a small token of our appreciation, something sweet to eat. It's better than getting a certificate because there's not much you can do with a certificate. At least this will give you a little bit of a fun snack to have. I'd also like to take this opportunity to recognize 3 of our former board members for their many years of service. We have plaques that we will be delivering to them. Mr. Bruce Karff, 17 years of service. Mr. Rich Nelson, 21 years of service as a Board of Education member. And Barb Dunleavy was a little harder trying to figure out how long she was a board member. We're just going to say that she's been in the district since 1974 as an employee and beyond. So I think all 3 of them are really epitomize what it means to give to this community. So we thank them for all of their service and what they've done for the district and the community. So thank them and thank all of you. Concludes my report at this time, Madam President.
We have no committee report. Audience participation. While the board is limited in its ability to respond to the public on matters involving personnel, litigation, negotiations, and attorney-client privilege, the board will now hear comments from the public relating to items on the agenda for this board meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board will not take action this evening. You will be notified at some time later by letter, electronic mail, telephone, or in the context of a later board meeting of any action the board does take.
I have several comments. Dear Mrs. Watson, Ms. Falcon, and members of the board, I'm an ESL teacher who has been working at Voorhees Middle School since January of 2016. I am writing to respectfully request that the board credit me for my 4 years of public school teaching experience that I had before coming to our district. Below, I will explain the reasons behind my request. When I was offered my position as an ESL teacher in December 2015, I asked Dr. Young and Mrs. Stallings to be credited for my previous years of experience. Dr. Young informed me that the district was prohibited from negotiating because the Voorhees teacher's contract stipulated that any new hires must be on step 1 of the salary guide. Since I was not yet a member of the Voorhees Teachers Education Association and I had no access to the contract, I took Dr. Young at her word. When the district was looking to hire a new ESL teacher in the spring of 2018, Dr. Young and Mrs. Stallings asked me if I knew of anyone who might be interested. They stated that any new hire would start on step 1 for the BTEA contract. I shared the job posting with my colleagues at NJTESOL, Stockton University, Rutgers University, and Rowan University, where I teach in the graduate level ESL bilingual certificate program. A new ESL teacher was hired and started in the district in the fall of 2018. However, I recently learned that that new teacher was credited for her prior teaching experience, despite the fact that I had been told this was prohibited by the BTEA contract. I am a highly qualified teacher. I have 4 teaching certificates as well as a doctorate in education. I conducted my doctorate research on methods for teaching middle school English language learners who arrive unable to write or read or write.
Ms. Santora, I believe we're having a volume issue. Perhaps if
You can
you,
either do that or
the microphone.
maybe she can sit closer.
Thank you. Yes, please. And just get a testing to see.
Can you hear me?
Thanks, Clark.
I think that's better. Why don't you, go ahead and start the
Okay.
comment over.
Sure.
Make sure we hear it.
Dear Ms. Watson, Ms. Van Auken, and members of the board, I am an ESL teacher who has been working at Voorhees Middle School since January of 2016. I am writing to respectfully request that the board credit me for my 4 years of public school teaching experience that I had before coming to our school district. Below, I will explain the reasons behind my request. When I was offered my position as an ESL teacher in December 2015, I asked Dr. Young and Mrs. Stallings to be credited for my previous years of experience. Dr. Young informed me that the district was prohibited from negotiating because the Voorhees teacher's contract stipulated that any new hires must start on step 1 on the salary guide. Since I was not yet a member of the Voorhees Teachers Education Association and had no access to the contract, I took Dr. Young at her word. When the district was looking to hire a new ESL teacher in the spring of 2018, Dr. Young and Mrs. Stallings asked me if I knew of anyone who might be interested. They stated that any new hire would start on step 1 per the VTEA contract. I shared the job posting with my colleagues at NJTESOL, Stockton University, Rutgers University, and Rowan University, where I teach in the graduate level ESL bilingual certificate program. A new ESL teacher was hired and started in the district in the fall of 2018. However, I recently learned that the new teacher was credited for her prior teaching experience, despite the fact that I had been told this was prohibited by the VTEA contract. I'm a highly qualified teacher. I have 4 teaching certificates as well as a doctorate in education. I conducted my doctorate research on methods for teaching middle school English language learners who arrive unable to read or write in any language. I am bilingual with degrees in both English and Spanish. Prior to coming to Voorhees, I was employed by the New Jersey Department of Education as an English language learner specialist. Additionally, I was elected by my New Jersey colleagues to represent ESL teachers and to serve on the statewide executive committee for the professional organization that supports English teachers who teach speakers of other languages and bilingual educators. In recent years, I have been chosen to represent at the annual NJEA convention and the NJTESOL conference. I have also served at the request of the New Jersey Department of Education on the state's Model ESL Bilingual Programs Committee, which evaluates ESL and bilingual programs across the state and recognizes those who merit model program status. I work hard for my students, their families, and our school district. I'm an expert in my field and a proud representative of the Voorhees Township Schools. I respectfully ask that you consider my professionalism and credit me for my 4 years prior experience in the same way that my new colleague was granted her years of experience. Okay. Good evening. I would like to add to my letter dated January 20, 2021, the following information. The district has been unable to find a substitute for my colleague's upcoming leave, which begins February 22nd. On Friday, January 22nd, I was told that I may be moved to Signal Hill to take over the ESL teachers classes for the remainder of the school year, and my students at Voorhees Middle will be taught by another VMS employee. A second option that was shared, which would mean I would continue in my position at VMS, but also teach all of the Signal Hill and Crescent ESL students. This would involve reconfiguring schedules and teaching 9 classes, 8 preps, including 2 kindergarten classes, as well as 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade ESL. I want to emphasize that I am a team player and willing to do what is best for my students and colleagues. I hope that you will please consider this as you weigh my request to be credited for my 4 years prior experience in the same way that my colleague was granted her years of experience. Once again, thank you for your consideration, Mary Ellen Fitzpatrick. My name is Gina Sammartino, and I teach 4th grade at Signal Hill School. I live at 1161 Concord Drive in Haddonfield. My concern is for my colleagues and I who are in the trenches with our students every day and continue to work tirelessly for those students while desperately trying to find the joy our job once brought us. Our responsibilities continue to build, including adding an extra in-person day with students every week, taking away the day for extra cleaning that we were promised. We were told to wear an extra mask while talking for 6 hours and to wash our hands. If those things are good enough for us, why is the public not allowed to attend a board meeting if following those same simple protocols? Why aren't teachers working with in-person students across the district being asked to participate in discussions concerning changes to our hybrid schedule? Thank you for your time. There are no other comments.
Thank you, Ms. Santor.
Thank you. Board comments? I actually have a couple of comments. Because we are in the process of making some changes, we are still going through some policy updates, but I did, in the idea of being transparent, I wanted to let the public, the board I've already informed, know kind of some of the changes that we intend to make. And one of those things is to change the committee makeup. So we will have, after it goes through policy and it goes through the proper process, we will have a couple of new committees, and we've actually consolidated some committees. One is an academic excellence committee, which will deal with curriculum, student achievement, technology, performance assessments, and grading. A fiscal planning and operations committee, which will deal with budget, ensuring resources are allocated and utilized in accordance with board goals and objectives. A full day kindergarten committee, which will budget as it relates to the kindergarten construction project and all related costs and expenses, hiring and realigning personnel, and any redistricting necessary to accommodate the kindergarten classes. Policy and Legislative Committee, which plans to maintain and revise district policies, monitor legislative developments impacting the public education, and provide insights and recommendations to the board for policy changes. A Culture and Climate and Community Relations Committee, which will promote healthy communication between district and the community, working to collaborate with community stakeholders to support, improve, promote, and develop awareness of educational opportunities, parent and community involvement, a positive and healthy learning environment, and a safe, civil, and diverse environment where our children can thrive. That committee will also be responsible for COVID-19. And lastly, a Personnel and Negotiations Committee, improving and enhancing the level of competency of all of our district personnel, including evaluations, employee relations, hiring practices, and disciplinary action. And they will be informed of all personnel appointments and actions. And they will also be responsible for contract negotiations. Another change that we will be implementing again once it goes through the proper protocols is appointing a school liaison. I want to be very clear that we are working with our board solicitor to come up with the proper guidelines, but the point of a school liaison is to bring board awareness to what is happening at the schools. We wanted to have better collaboration and partnership with all of our fantastic schools. We want to know about the wonderful things that you are accomplishing, your student achievements, programs that are upcoming, and we want to ensure that we have a board representative at those school events. So we will be appointing John Schmoose to Osage. Again, this is once it goes through policy. Dana Galliano to Signal Hill, Jason Bryce to Crescent, Kelly Cosenza to Hamilton, and Dr. Levy and Dr. Scott to VMS. I do want to, in the meantime, while those are going through policy, we do have to have committees set up so that we can get work done in the coming month, including getting this through policy. These are not going to be what you are going to be assigned to once we get the new committee started, but we needed to have something in the interim. The following committees will be established. For buildings and grounds, Dr. Falk will be the chairperson. Kelly Cosenza and Dana Galliano will also serve on that committee. For finance, Dawn Wallace will be the chairperson. John Schmoose and Jason Bryce will also serve on that committee. For personnel, Jason Bryce will be the chairperson. Dr. Falk and Dawn Wallace will be also on that committee. For policy, Dana Galliano will be the chairperson. Dr. Levy and Kelly Cosenza will sit on the committee. For technology, Dr. Levy will be the chairperson. John Schmoose and Rachel Vanaken will sit on the committee. We will keep our kindergarten ad hoc committee, which John Schmoose will be the chairperson, and Dawn Wallace and Dana Galliano will also serve on. That is all the comments that I have. Any other board comments?
I just had a question. What committee does buildings and grounds fall in under the new ones that you?
Under the new one, buildings and grounds is kind of split between fiscal planning and full day kindergarten.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes?
I have one comment.
Yeah.
And I think that this is in response to some of the letters that we've been receiving. The thing I think that concerns me most in some of the letters that we get from our teachers and our personnel is this idea that when women take time off for childcare, that somehow their long-term career is penalized for that. And I think that that sort of flies in the face of what we want to have in an equitable workplace. And as we think about our negotiation with our, looking forward over the next couple of months, I just want us to all keep in mind that there are these small things that can affect equity over the long term, and that we'd be very cognizant of that. And again, I think that I want to make sure that my position on this is very strong, in that I want to make sure that we have an equity, as much equity as we can in the workplace. I've seen this hurt women's careers time and time again. I think that there's plenty of data which shows that taking time off and taking time for child rearing can actually hurt people's careers and their earning potential in the long term. So I think that we need to be cognizant of that moving forward.
Thank you so much. That's incredibly well said, and I couldn't agree more. Anyone else? All right. No items under transportation. Dr. Levy, will you take the items under policy?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to move number 1 under policy.
Second.
So moved.
Mr. Bryce? Ms. Cosenza?
Yes.
Dr. Falk?
Yes.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Schmus,
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace. I'm sorry, Mrs. Watson.
Yes.
I keep doing that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Rachel, Ms. Van Auken, will you take the items under personnel?
Yes. Can I have a motion to move items 1 through 25 under personnel?
Second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Bryce?
Yes.
Ms. Cosenza?
Yes.
Dr. Falk?
Yes.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Schmus?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes. There are no items under deferred action. Ms. Galliano, will you take new business?
Sure. I would like to move numbers 1 through 10.
Second?
Mr. Bryce? Ms. Cosenza?
Yes.
Dr. Falk?
Yes.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Schmus?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes. Our next board meeting will be on February 24th, 2021 at 7:30 PM at the Administration Building. Audience participation, while the board is limited in its ability to respond to the public on matters involving personnel, litigation, negotiations, and attorney-client privilege, the board will now hear comments from the public. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board will not take action this evening. You will be notified at some time later by letter, electronic mail, telephone, or in the context of a later board meeting of any action the board does take.
There are no additional comments.
Thank you, Ms. Santor. Board comments. No comments? Moving to finance. Mr. Schmus, will you take finance, please?
I will, Mrs. Watson. I'd like to make a motion to approve items 1 through 9 under finance.
Second?
Mr. Bryce?
Yes.
Ms. Cosenza?
Yes.
Dr. Falk?
Yes.
Ms. Galliano?
Yes.
Dr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Schmus?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Auken?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes. May I have a motion? Do I have to read this first?
Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve adjourning to executive session. Be it resolved that pursuant to Section 8 of the Open Public Meeting Act, the public shall be excluded from that portion of the meeting involving discussion of personnel. Further resolved that discussion of such matter in executive session can be disclosed to the public at such time as the board takes formal action. I will advise that we will be in executive session for a short duration, most likely 15 to 20 minutes, if anybody would like to remain on the line. But we will not be taking any action when we come back to the meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn to executive session?
I'll second. We need a second?
Shall I do roll call or do we say unanimous?
Anybody opposed going to executive session?
Yeah.
Everybody's good? Okay, thank you.
Hammer, I think you hammer around.
I'm sorry,
Did you hammer around?
do I have to hammer up?
Hammer time.
Stop.
I'm sorry.